All right, good day. This is Jesse.
Hi, good day. This is a True007.
All right, today what we have Russian corporate profits are up 25% in the second quarter. The ruble is above its pre-war levels, which True007 has been telling us, and the central bank, while the rest are increasing interest rate. Russia is cutting interest rates, all right, and they have been making about US 21 billion per month from energy exports alone, just from energy exports. That's why the ruble was so strong that the central bank of Russia actually have to cut interest rates. And this is what one energy trader have to say, and one market analyst have to say. He says energy trader anticipate a brutal period for global growth. All right. So while the Chinese factory activities remain suppressed, Eurozone is experiencing a record high inflation reading, and they are talking about rationing at least 1/3 for this winter season. And then G7 has decided. I thought it was a rather interesting move that to place a price cap on Russian oil. They are doing it at the shipment, oil shipment. They're pricing it below, which is the TBD, and then of course through the maritime insurance market, because that way they can control. And without insurance, most people were not there to let the ship sail anyway. So really, from the perspective of Germany, we are talking about, or from my perspective, actually, we're talking about if Germany grinds to a halt. Remember, the Germany literally financed the whole euro, right? The EU and European Union. So once Germany, if they are already facing a lack of energy, so we are talking about deindustrialization, right? Orchestrated blackouts, energy poverty, which is the lack of energy, and worse. So because a lot of the gas contracts are forward contracts, right? So what would impact? How would it impact Australia? As most businesses, their gas contract, the price will, in fact, I think there's a number that says at least more than double to triple. And well, what would it take to restore price stability? It is a very interesting period again, because True007 is going to share with us, a period where the fluctuate or the strengthening of the US dollar, USD, against the other major currencies in the basket that we are concerned about. The Canadian, the Swiss, the Swedish krona, and of course the EU. So with that in mind, 007 has pointed out that oil prices has actually dropped. If oil prices has actually dropped, so why is Europe preparing for an austere winter, a very bleak winter? 007.
Thank you, Jesse. Yes, as you said, the oil price actually is dropping quite a lot. So, Flower, can you please bring the slides about the US oil futures price? The first one. But what you see on the screen is do not pay energy bill. So what is this? You see the price of the natural gas is nearly 5 times what it was a year ago. Remember, 5 times. And okay, so the growing in the UK, where people are campaigning for not paying direct debit payment by disconnect cancel the card, okay, for the energy on the October 1st. So October 1st, that's what the slogan is about. October 1st in UK, no one is gonna. They call for people act to cancel the credit debit card payment for the energy, for the gas. Well, that's very serious because the price gone up. If it's gas price gone up 5 times for a year ago, that's too much. I just received the replacement of a tank of gas, and the price gone, from 120 to around 130, I think, something like that. For 2 years, you increase $10. So that's less than 8%. So 4% increase in a year, that's acceptable, I think, here with the inflation 4%. I mean, that's this. So Flower, can you come up to show me those charts that I have prepared, slides? 美油期货. All right. So what do you see? It's this is a chart. I just gathered the monthly chart. So monthly charts from what? Yes, from 86.84 today. Okay, today it come down. So it was. You see, it's quite a big jump. So 86 today. That's then from 130 over 6 months from 130 to 86, 88. That's a 47% drop price. 47% dropped price. The 6 months, past 6 months. So, I mean, what's still the energy crisis? So maybe I think definitely US doesn't have that crisis. Then Germany, France, and Europe, and also UK definitely have the price come up 5 times, 12 months. So I just wonder why. What is the problem? So why US crude oil prices have dropped 47%, also dropped half. Okay, over the last 6 months, and why I think it may be a political differences, like Russia supplies into Europe and also France and Germany. So when Russian threatens, I think when they threatens for whatever reason, I think they have 5 pipelines or 4 or 5 pipelines supply European countries. And they already stopped one. I think we had that program last couple of weeks ago. And now they're threatened to have a rest for maintenance for another one. But when they did that, I think European countries, according to the news, they start to act uniformly, want to sanction Russia. So Russia said, okay, well, we can negotiate and give you a discount. So I believe the heavy discount was given. If Flower have a look at the news slides I have. So in a nutshell, US futures prices oil in the past 6 months have come down 47%, but then the rest of that it wasn't. So wasn't. Next one. So the US dollars keep going up. Okay, US dollars keep going up from 99.26 to now today 110.11 over the 12 months. That's a 20%. Okay, plus the 20%, the oil price come down. Okay, the US dollar is up. And so up 20%, so of 60, or by you almost can say US only paying 60% of what they were paying a year ago. Well, that says something, isn't it? Back to Jess, what do you think? Why is this the case? Why USA can consume 50 to 60% cheaper price crude oil, okay, twice than a year ago, and the rest of the world have to pay high price. Well, we talked about that last week. It's number one is the exchange rate. Okay, well, the exchange rate, the US dollars against every other currency, US dollars is up 20 to 25%, basically 20 to 30% now. So apart from that exchange factor, what's really going on? I mean, in that case, if your futures price come down, given your process cost is the same, and probably cheaper because process need energy. Well, you get crude oil energy cheaper, then you can afford to process what was a year ago with the same cost or less. So I heard that U.S. retailing price come up. I mean, everywhere. So what's really going on? Can you give us some clarity, Jesse?
Sorry, yeah, I can't give you the clarity, but what we do know, US is actually self-sufficient right? They have a huge reserve of gas, of course, and then you have the oil, which then one of the project was cancelled from Canada down. And then the trucking issues, it really comes down to the trucking issues, especially for energy dependent state like California, which is one of the largest state, right? And they contribute a lot to the GDP. And because of their green policies, a lot of trucks that is beyond a certain age, they cannot go into California. So California is facing a lot of shortages and, of course, the cascading problem. But I think today what we want to focus on also Europe, and because one of the questions that came out last week was how well, because we were looking at what 99.4 to a US dollar, EUD now to US dollar. And then the one of the coffee shop chat was, how low will EUD goes against the US dollar. And there are some school of thoughts that it will go to 94. And I thought, oh, wow, 99 to 94, that's like another 5%, And I thought that's pretty steep. Could it be more? Then I began to ask myself, could it be more? That's why I begin to go, okay, what will cause it to drop even more? I know there are geopolitics and there are forces behind that we do not know. So we can only read from the data that we can lay our hands on. And then, of course, then it naturally goes back to England. It naturally goes back to Germany, because Germany is the industrial engine of Europe. You're right, of Europe. And there was one German CEO that said this about the German economy. That's why I mentioned it doesn't come from me, it came from them. The deindustrialization of Germany. The question is, they were saying it will be a gradual deindustrialization, meaning with reference to the lack of energy. So they have to ration, factory have stoppages, like what is happening in China. Very interesting, and two parts of the world, and we have, the different blocks experiencing the same thing. And now that when that comment was made, all right, power prices was at 530 euros. Today, they have hit 1,000 euro, and in France it is 1,100 in France. But then I thought, hang on, but France, has got a lot of nuclear plants. So that's why I thought there must be something about energy that there is a play going on, that I'm missing something here, and I'm not having clarity, on the horizon, because technically France, with that many nuclear power plants, right? They shouldn't have a problem with that, but the prices has gone up. And in fact, even one German city is considering to turn off their traffic lights to save on electricity. Yeah.
Never
And
heard of.
a lot of and Europe gets really cold in winter, without gas, without electricity. It is it well, I cannot even begin to 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 structure a even an equation on that, so of course a lot of companies then begin to shut down or reduce production. Like you said, UK even thought about, all right, maybe we should go back to a 3-day work week. Wow, a 3-day work week, so. And then we thought, okay, energy prices coming down, right? So does it mean that once energy price comes down, inflation will come down also?
Not sure,
What's
but
your
I think
view?
at least, yeah, I think once the energy price come down, traditionally in the econometrics, then the inflation will come down. So it means the retailing price for energy and the food prices is going to come down as well. Man, this is a benchmark where people start to have a revolution or not in the United States. If the price
Yeah.
go into certainly, a benchmark, that's dangerous. I think according to the last 200 years history, United States.
Yep.
But you raised a very interesting question. So,
But so the converse, sorry, so the converse is true also, isn't it? The True007. The converse is true, because
absolutely,
remember, a lot of
yeah,
the federal banks are pretty confident. They are pretty confident that inflation will keep rising, right? Like
yeah,
Powell is already saying, all right, the businesses and household, you better prepare for some pain. and then ECD, the Europe central banks is coming in to say, yeah, we will keep on raising rates also. Gone are the days where they are thinking of a 25 basis point. They're talking 50 basis point and 75 basis point for the next consecutive sector. So which means our assumption that energy prices will come down doesn't seem likely. It even though prices seems to have come down, but energy, or that means crude oil Brent, has come down, but energy prices are forecast to go up. If energy prices is forecast to go up, that means inflation will be worse, and it will cause
Well,
producer price inflation also.
yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Okay. I think as you're talking now, some thoughts come to my mind. Okay. Yeah, it looks like price come up at the retail level. It's the results of in the Europe case, in UK and especially in Germany and France. It seems that the threatening of Russian tend the gas off, okay, due to some reasons. Okay, some people said it's because Putin may use that as a energy war to against the West.
Yep.
But when you look at the supplying map, okay, Germany is on the left, Ukraine and the bottom, Romania and Russia there, and the supplying pipe. You know, at the retail level, at the retail level, you could have the fear effect that you may run out of the gas, okay, and that can spike the price up. But in directly supply, threatened by Putin, that's all it is, okay. But then, in the war, aren't we looking for kind of better improvement in terms of the harmony of the supply chain? But I think, here come to a question, who really want the war? Who are benefiting from war? It is, can you see that? We are paying high price. We means consumers, okay? But then the crude
Yep.
oil supply prices come down 47% over the last 6 months. That's not rational. The supplier, the oil refinery get the price almost half the price before. Why should they sell for a few times higher to the people? So who controls that section of the supply chain? That is the key. I think in that section, they trying to control the neck. They're still making a lot of money. They're making at least a savings of 50%. Plus, on the right hand side, when they output the petrol and diesel product into the gasoline station, we still buying them like a double whatever a year ago. Okay, so in that cases, I mean, the government, I'm sure they taxed a bit, but then where the other bit, that's a lot of money. That's equivalent at least to the buying price of the crude oil. So these big boys double the profit and probably triple. I mean, this is net profit, okay? The price of what they bought for, at least we can see. So they stay up the price. It's not very hard to work that out. It's pretty simple supply chain mathematics. It's just plus and minus percentage. So you see, I mean, that sent the fear to the market. That sent people, consumers fear. And that fear then give a reason for them to charge more money. All right. So there's plenty of supply in that cases. It's just someone from the crude oil, which is where you refinery buy the price from the futures price, and then start the refining the crude oil into heavy oil, into petrol and gas, and assume and diesels. Okay, all these things. It is the consumable oil which we buy. Okay, to put in our car and light our gases for cooking. That is a big problem. That price has gone up, but the supply price has not gone up. So someone is making a lot of money. We call it the create the wealth with the intention of war, maybe. What do you think, Jesse?
Well, with the intention of war for what?
With the
The
maintenance of the
geopolitical,
war.
yeah.
With the
I think
maintenance
what
of
is
the
pretty clear, yeah. What is
yeah.
pretty clear is we're beginning to see a formation of what Mr. Moscow has already told us about the new bloc arising, the ASEAN countries, the Middle Eastern countries, the Central Europe countries, the Eastern Europe countries, and of course Russia and Middle East in particular, right? That China is trying to corral everyone together to stand up against the US dollar. And I feel that this could be something which that the US are very cognizant of, because now USD is under threat. Although what we're seeing in the market is the strengthening of the US dollar, and then another block that's coming up, which will lead to the internationalization of renminbi, all right, and then therefore the digitization of renminbi. Now this is going to cause a lot of pain in terms of forex exchange if renminbi starts to devalue, because that's one of the tools that the CCP will do, is to devalue. We are standing about what, 6.8 or 6.9, right? They are even looking at 7 point something to $8, 7 plus to 8 renminbi to a dollar. Now that is going to bring a lot of pain
10%.
to the US and to more than, yeah, exactly, more than that actually, and when you look at that, the effect on the economy of the US and the euro, and therefore you have to conclude that I think below trend growth is a given already. Labor market, as we share the same view, even though the numbers are telling us it's very strong. Unemployment numbers are very low, but the labor participation rate it tells a different story, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
So it
I
still
think
goes
that
back to
here, you lie
go on.
down the macroeconomic conditions, especially the unemployment rate. We talked about that quite a lot during our programs previously. But I think you just spelled one word called unemployable rate. So
Unemployable
unemployment
rate,
rate is unemployable defined as due to health reasons, okay, and due to reasons that they don't want to obey some kind of mandate, so they withdraw, okay, voluntarily or unvoluntarily, that stay at home not working. That number is called, okay, unemployable or
yeah.
withdraw from labor force. I mean, that is 1 out of 10 people, isn't it? I just saw them, people around my, the circle I know, that they're doing something like that. As long as they can find money for some food. I mean, that's not too bad in Australia. The food price also gone up maybe 20-30%. However, I mean, sometimes some food are doubled, some fruit, vegetables, and but you can still survive, no problem. As long as you get a couple $100, as once you have a place to live, I think $200 should survive. So this is where they withdraw from employment rate. That is not counted. If it's 10%, think about it. Then add the 3.5, it's 13.5%. This is real, right? But anyway, this is what our observation, but it required more accuracy of the government really go, and I'm sure this data is available. We just never shown, never shared to the public. All right. So
The
for a reason.
mythology, the data sets, the universe that they're using, which brings us to the point, we're hearing a lot of conflicting information coming out. We spoke about in one of our programs, we spoke about QT, right? Quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. With quantitative tightening is happening on the central bank level, where they are shrinking their balance sheets, all right. And then of course, then we have the administration coming in with QE. Now it might look small, a few $100 billion here, for giving the student loans of, like it could be like 500 billion or whatever, but in actual fact, I think it's higher than that. It's about 700, 800 based on someone's calculation. So all in all, you're looking at plus infrastructure plus the green deal, the green new deals. All right. So you're looking at $4 trillion of injection of QE again into the market, while you have the QT that's happening at the same time. And remember the background, and the background always has gold. right? Gold prices have been moving sideways. In fact, has dropped a little bit. That's very interesting. Perhaps they know that this formation of the block of the currency of this new currency that is going to renminbi, that's going to challenge the US dollar, is very real now. They can see the existential threat to the US, the hegemony as a global reserve currency. And what Mr. Moscow has already told us, 40 over countries are willing to go with CCP already in this new currency. And if this comes in, that's why he says within 1,000 days, we're going to see like fluctuating and variation in depreciation of currencies all across the world. All across the world, you are going to see depreciation. And then when you overlay again with, like you said, tight unemployment, right? You have a lot of big techs, right? The big tech in the US, in fact, in Singapore and other places, they are laying off people. They are laying off workers. NEP lay off 20% of their workforce. Now, these people always do they always do forecasting, right? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months ahead. They must have seen something for them to go, nah, I think we better start cutting now. Be it to conserve cash flow or whatever, because they know interest rate is going to keep going up. So we are looking at all these leader points to say that I believe interest rates will keep going up. The big techs are already moving into overgear to consolidate and to downsize to a place where they can withstand the so-called the winter. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that interest rate will go up some more. The macro economic condition generally will not be good. Slow growth is like the stagflation that we spoke about. All right, and then you have Exxon. Exxon is dropping their production in ExxonMobil. They're dropping their production in Russia. All right, they have dropped how much? They have dropped 220,000 barrels a day to 10,000 barrels a day. That's a massive drop, 95% at least, or 96 point something percent, 0.5% drop in production. And then you have oil prices dropping.
Okay, very well said. So I'm going to support you by the Dow Jones 工业平均指数, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. This is aggregation figure which will support what you just said as an example. Okay, as a summary. So Flower, please give me the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. 道琼斯工业指数, please. Flower. Okay, so you can see this one. What you just suggest, what you give an excellent example was that every individual companies you saw the cut down 20%. I saw the news everywhere. Big companies, tech companies, even further, fintech company as well. So if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's over last 9 months, it dropped like almost 20%. Okay, 18 to 20%. So that means the demand, is down in the United States, United States and all, Dow Jones, it could be not only United States major industrial tech stocks, but also the world top 500, for example. So if you see that index comes down 20%, does that mean 20% the neighbor force is gone? Everything is gone. I mean, the value is gone, The value is gone, the size is downsizing. Only over the last 9 months, dropped to 20%. So that is a massive scale of drop. Think about how many people are unemployed. And the example you just given reflected one of the company maybe included in the index as well, for example, So it's not surprising, as I said, maybe 20%, unemployable population, environmentally and voluntarily withdrawing from labor force, either by laid off or themselves don't want to work anymore. I mean, could be most reasons. I'm sure health seems, the death rate seems gone up, unlimited, the cancer rate goes up. All that goes up indicate what? Indicate the productivity force, which is the labor force, really got a big problem now. So the unemployment, if you include those ones, it won't be 3.5%. I think that I never see over the last 20 years in Australia, so many people I know that they're not working anymore. Just hanging around. I suppose they got they you know, we're just popular, we're just turf to be cut, but then you better cut yourself first and just downsize your own spendings. So okay, thank you, Jesse. So basically, energy price, it's some, I think the price is triggered between the crude oil prices and the retail price. I mean, the price is like 4 times the gap there. And traditionally, it won't be that big. Okay. Traditionally, it won't be that big. So someone is making a lot of money between the factory KE output, okay, factory output to where they bought the oil from. That's a huge big gap. So we just have to leave the question there, and let's do some digging and research, find out why that is. So where the money is gone, the gap. Okay, so we'll find out that once we've got some more time, and we'll share with our audience. So you want to?
Yep.
I want to conclude our show tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us. This is Himalaya Australia Business News. I'm True007, and
Jesse.
my co-host Jesse, and our director is Flower. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Super.